Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into tech that's gone the way of the dodo. 25 gadgets that were essential, but now they're practically museum relics. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with a true blast from the past, the pager. Pagers were the epitome of mobile communication back in the day. Doctors, business people, anyone who needed to be reachable, they all rocked a pager. Then came cell phones and, well, you know the rest. Next up, we've got the floppy disk. These flimsy squares were how we used to store data, from important documents to those early computer games. Then came along the CD, the DVD, and eventually, the almighty USB drive. Technology sure has come a long way. Let's rewind to the days of VCRs. They let us watch movies and shows whenever we wanted, no need for broadcast schedules. Then came streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, changing how we consume content. Let's talk about the soundtrack to our lives: cassette tapes. These little tapes held our favorite albums, mixtapes curated for crushes, and recordings of important events. Eventually, digital music and streaming platforms took over. Remember those massive boxy TVs that dominated our living rooms for decades? Those were CRT televisions. As technology advanced, slimmer, lighter, and more energy-efficient flat-screen TVs took over. LCD, LED, OLED. These technologies brought us sharper images, brighter colors, and screens so thin they could be hung like paintings. Before smartphones, there were film cameras. Each roll had limited shots, making every click a calculated risk. Digital cameras and smartphones made photography more accessible and convenient. Let's appreciate the mechanical marvel that is the typewriter. Before computers, typewriters were the primary tool for writers and journalists. The advent of computers made writing and editing easier, and the rest is history. Remember those clunky devices we used before smartphones? Those were PDAs, personal digital assistants. PDAs were cutting edge but limited by small screens, slow processors, and clunky interfaces. Then came the iPhone in 2007, changing mobile technology forever. Ah, the fax machine. It was the height of technology, sending contracts, invoices, and other documents instantly, well, almost instantly. With email and digital sharing, fax machines were relegated to dusty office corners worldwide. For those of us who grew up in the early days of the internet, the screeching sound of a dial-up modem was a familiar soundtrack. Dial-up modems were slow, unreliable, and tied up your phone line, but they were our gateway to the web. Then came broadband cable, DSL, and eventually fiber optic, offering lightning-fast speeds and always-on connectivity. Before smartphones, we had portable CD players. They let us take our favorite music anywhere. Smartphones then made MP3 players, like CD players, redundant. For decades, overhead projectors were a staple in classrooms and conference rooms. Those clunky devices with their bright lights and flimsy transparencies shared presentations, diagrams, and lesson plans. With digital projectors, interactive whiteboards, and presentation software, overhead projectors were retired to the supply closet. Before voicemail, we had answering machines. These devices were our lifeline when we weren't home to answer the phone. But as cell phones and voicemail became standard, answering machines faded into obsolescence. Remember those family gatherings or school presentations where someone would dim the lights and bring out the slide projector? Those clunky devices with their carousel trays and satisfying click as each slide advanced were how we shared memories and information, but they were also limited in functionality. Before smartphones, we had handheld gaming consoles. Remember the Game Boy, the PlayStation Portable, or the Nintendo DS? These devices defined portable gaming. But as smartphones advanced, handheld consoles faced competition. Remember those metal boxes on street corners, the ones with the coiled cords and the faint smell of stale cigarette smoke? Those were payphones. We'd rely on them to make calls when away from home, to check in with family or conduct business. With cell phones, payphones quickly became obsolete. Before texting, there were beepers. These pager-like devices received short, numeric messages. Cell phones made beepers obsolete with text messaging. Remember those bulky, brick-like phones installed in cars? The ones with the coiled cords and the hefty price tags? Those were car phones, but they were also notoriously expensive, both to purchase and to use, with hefty roaming charges and limited coverage. With the rise of cell phones, car phones quickly became obsolete. Before smartphones, we used standalone GPS units for navigation. These devices use satellite signals to guide us to our destinations. But as smartphones advanced, standalone GPS devices became redundant. Before smartphones recorded high-definition video, we had camcorders. These bulky devices captured life's precious moments, from birthday parties to graduations to family vacations. With smartphones and their sophisticated cameras, camcorders quickly became obsolete. Before smartphones were our entertainment hubs, we had MP3 players. These devices revolutionized portable music, letting us carry entire libraries in our pockets. But as smartphones advanced, MP3 players became redundant. Remember those rotary phones with the satisfying click as you dialed each number? Or the cordless phones that gave us a taste of freedom, tethered to a base station? Landline phones were once the primary way we stayed connected. With cell phones, landline phones became obsolete. Remember those portable DVD players with the small screens and the constant battle against battery life? They were a godsend for parents on long car rides, keeping children entertained with movies and shows. With the rise of tablets and streaming services, portable DVD players quickly became obsolete. Remember those digital photo frames that promised to free us from printing photos and constantly updating our picture frames? They were a novel idea, displaying multiple photos in a slideshow format. With smartphones, tablets, and smart displays, digital photo frames became obsolete. Remember those e-readers that promised to revolutionize reading? They offered a dedicated device for digital books, with e-ink displays mimicking paper. But with tablets and smartphones, e-readers became redundant. 25 gadgets that have gone the way of the dodo. It's amazing how far technology has come in such a short time. These devices, once cutting edge, remind us how quickly things change in tech. Thanks for watching. Enjoyed this video? Like, comment, and subscribe for more tech updates. See you next time.